Hello and welcome back to our series on SQL interview question and answers. So in this part of the video, our interview question is, we have to write an SQL query to find the second highest selling product in terms of revenue for each product category and then order it by product name. Okay, so before understanding the question one by one, let us first see what are the tables or the data that is given to us. So we have two tables. The first table is the products table, which contains the information about the product that we have. So these are different grocery products that we have. And then we have the categories in which these grocery products lies. Okay, the another table is the sales table. In the sales table, we have the information about the sales data about those products. So we have the number of units sold, and we also have an additional information of the unit price, which is the single product price of that particular product. Okay, so for example, one packet of Lay's costs 20 rupees and there are 10,000 units which was sold for that particular product. Okay, so this is the data that we have. Now let us try to break down the question. So we have to write an SQL query to find the second highest selling product in terms of revenue. Okay, so if we see, we don't have any information about the revenue in our table right now. But from our knowledge, we know that revenue is simply the multiplication of the unit price and the number of units sold. So if I multiply these two columns, it will give me a result column, which is the revenue column. And now I have to find the second highest selling product based on that column. Okay, so I have that particular column with different values. I need to find the product with the second highest revenue value. Okay, now I have already covered the detailed explanation of how to do this in my past video. You can just click on the link on the top right corner to watch that video and then come back to this video. In this video, we have the same type of problem. However, we have an additional layer to it. So we don't have to just find the second highest revenue, but we have to find that category wise. Okay, so for example, if we take the category of snacks, we have three different products. And now I can't compare the revenue values of these products with the products from other categories. So I need to just compare the revenue values from this particular category only and then select the second highest revenue for any product. Okay, and then just list that out for each of those categories. Okay, and at the end, I also have to order my result by product name. Okay, so if you see the sample output down here, you should have a product name column and a category column. Now in category column, you have the four different categories, and for each category, we have the product that has the second highest revenue value. Okay, now I hope you have got the idea what the problem is trying to say. Now let us see how we can implement this in MySQL. So I'll use MySQL workbench to solve the problem, and I have already created a database. So I'm just activating that database right here, and then I'm just creating tables that are already provided in the question, which are the sales and products table. And then I've just entered the values which are already there in the table that you have just seen right here. Okay, you don't have to worry about this code. I'll provide this complete code into the video description below. You can just copy that code and then paste it in your workbench or wherever you are working and then solve it on your own. Okay, so now we have once created the table. Let's look at what those table contains. So I have sales data. I'll just do select star from sales to give me the output of all the data. So this is the table that we have also seen in the question. So that's good. And let's see from the products table what it contains. So it is also as we expected. Okay, now one thing I can do now, since here the list is small, I could have just ignored that. But if the list is very big, I could use distinct on the category column to see what are the unique categories that we have. Okay, so we have four different categories with us. Okay, now we are aware about our tables and as well. So the first thing that we discussed is we need to find the revenue. So to find the revenue, I'll just put the basic command. Now, before that, if you see, whenever you have multiple tables in your question, you always need to check if you need all the tables or not. Okay, so if we see, we have to use the revenue data, which we have to take from these two columns. All right. And then once we have the revenue column, we have to find the product name with the second highest revenue, and then also list out the category of that product. Okay, so I need to use this table as well for mapping from product to category. So in this case, we have to use both tables. So first thing that I'll do is to join my tables and give you the final summary output. Okay, so I'll do from sales, and then I'll join it with the products table. So whenever I write join, it simply means that I'm using inner join, and I'll join it based on the product column. All right. So products dot product should be equal to sales dot product name, which is simply product name. All right. Now, if I just run this query, you'll see we have the view of all the information that is required right now. So we have the product name, the unit sold, unit price, as well as the category. All right. Now let us move on to create a column related to the revenue column. Okay. So in order to get the revenue, we just discussed we have to multiply the units sold by the unit price, and it will give us the total revenue. So I'm just giving it a temporary name, which is the total revenue. Okay. Now if I run this query, you see we have the column which is required for our next step. Okay. So what was our next step? Next step was to find the second highest revenue product. Okay. So for that, we have to use a rank over function. So rank over function, simply what it does, it will rank my values based on whatever column that I'll provide to it. So if I just say it should rank my values based on total revenue, and I'll order it in a descending order. That simply means that the revenue with the highest value should be given rank 1, and then so on. So if I just run this, it says unknown column total revenue. Okay. So I can't use this temporary name directly in my query. So I have to use again this complete expression to order my rank values. Okay. Now if you see, we have our final output. Okay. I just need to give a temporary name to it so that it looks good. Yeah, good. So now if you see, we have the rank values, and since Mackie got us the maximum total revenue, it got rank 1, and the other products were ranked according to their revenue values. Okay. Now what was the next part of the question was, I need to do this for each product category and not for all the products. That means we have to compare the total revenue and find the rank only for similar categories or same categories. All right. So for that, I'll use partition by function. What it will do is, so I have to provide the column based on which it makes the partitions. So based on category, it will make different partitions. So if we have 4 different categories, as we already saw, it will make 4 different partitions, and in each partition, it will provide me the rank values. So if I just run this, you'll see now we, instead of having rank 1 to 10 or 11, whatever the number of rows we had, it's ranking them based on the categories. So in chocolates category, there are rank 1, 2, and 3 for Munch, Kit Kat, and Dairy Milk. And then for drinks category, we again have a new rank values. Okay. So that's the benefit of using partition by, and that's how this particular part of the problem is solved. Okay. Now we just need to select the products with the second highest revenue. Okay. So that's simple. I can just use these rank values, and I can put a where clause where the rank equals to 2, and it will give me the products with the second highest revenue category wise. But I just can't use the rank column directly in this query. So I'll have to write another query, which is the main query, and then I can just feed this query that we just have written as a subquery. Okay. to our main query. So I just writing this as my subquery, and then whatever the output of this subquery will be stored in table 1, and then I can just for now select all the values from this table where rank equals 2. Okay, so if I just run this, you'll see we have only products with the rank 2, and you have and you'll see that we have the products from each of the categories only. Okay, so now we have the final values with only rank equal to 2, and you can see for each category we have 1 product. Okay, so we have solved this part of our problem as well. Now the next part is, if you see the sample output, we only have 2 columns to show. So one is the product name and second is the category. So that is simple. You can just, instead of using star, you can just say I just need product name and category, and I don't need anything else. Okay, so if I just run this, now you see our final output looks almost similar to the sample output given. So the final step that we have still need to do is we need to order it by product name. So for that we can just use order by command at the end. So I'll just use order by product name, and since it's not given if it's ascending or descending, by default we assume it's an ascending order. Okay, so I'll just run this query and you'll see we got the final output, and if I compare it with our sample output, that's a correct solution. Okay, so great. And I just wanted to show you, this is one way of doing it. Like the another way is to, instead of using subquery, you can simply use the CTE function. So I'll just use with CTE as, now I just write the same query that we used as a subquery and copy it in this particular expression. Okay, so now what it will do is it will store the output of this query into this CTE variable or a CTE table. Then I can just use the same query that I already did to select the product name and category from CTE where rank equals 2. Okay, and you'll see it will give me the same output. Okay, so that's how you approach these type of problems in a step-by-step manner. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and do subscribe so that you never stop learning. And thank you for watching.